today there's a couple things that we're going to do this Saturday morning that come from a book on Tibetan relaxation, which is actually quite different. So I'll just explain that now. We're not going to do too much of it, but I'd like to start incorporating it. After these activities, these exercises in the Tibetan style, according to this book, you do something for a few minutes and then you stop for like 10 or 15 and you just be still, whether you're lying down and being still or you're in seated being still. And that way you can experience the subtle changes that have occurred. You can experience vibration in your body different, and you can experience energy essentially more clearly in your body. So it's really interesting. Maybe one of these days we'll do a class around it, but for now we'll just incorporate a couple things. So it's time for us to get started. I would like to start in seated just for a moment, just so that we can come into our practice and come into our minds and bodies in an important way, in a way that helps us to feel what it is that we're doing here. So once we're here in the seated position, we'll sit up tall, close the eyes, and just follow the breath. So the mind is focusing on the breath. Do your best at this time not to change the breath, just to follow the breath. Keep your attention on the breath. Anything else that comes in, just acknowledge it, but then come back to the breath. Focus on the breath. Now, watching the breath still, let the breath grow without any need to prevent it from growing, any tendency towards restraint, any of that. Release that and let the breath get longer. Let it take up more time, more of your time, more space in your body. And as you're doing that, let's see if we can even say to ourselves, I'm allowing more space and time for cosmic energy to move through my body. I'm allowing it and I'm inviting it. Now, growing the breath, letting the ebb and flow of the breath really take up your attention. On the inhalation, feeling the belly, rib cage, chest expanding. On the exhalation, chest, rib cage, belly drawing in. As you're doing this, the head might be gently rocking with this motion. So on the inhalation, at the top, you might feel the head lift a little bit. Feel the softness here. And as you exhale, the head might lower down a little bit. Let this occur. And so inviting this cosmic energy to take up more of your time, more of your space. Also, see if you can feel and sense the joy behind that energy. Now, if you haven't shifted into victorious breath, let's do that now. So even keeping up with this motion here, inhaling through the nose, mouth opens, fogging out. Mouth stays open, fogging in. Closing the mouth, exhaling through the nostrils. And now let's reach on the inhalation, the arms up towards the sky. And then let the head come back slightly. Keep the arms lifted, the arms straight, the back long. And we'll bow to each other. Bring the palms together, thumbs in towards the heart center. Let's bow to the divinity within all of us that is fueling the cosmic energy that we've been focusing on. And so bowing to each other, namaste. We'll rise. And let's come all the way down to the back, where we'll start to move and work with the body. And once you're on the back, we'll take the arms behind and stretch the legs long, point the toes forward. As you're here, keeping the arms behind you, flex and point the feet a few times. The first part of our practice today will be moving in a flow, a little bit of a flow, and then on the second half we'll be holding and letting ourselves go into postures so we can open up a little bit more and improve our flexibility. So right from here we'll point the toes, and on the next exhale bring the right knee in towards the chest, hands around the knee, and then lift the head, looking forward. Inhale, lengthen the leg, take the arms back. And on the next exhale, left knee comes in, hands around the left knee, lift the head, and then release, extending the limbs. So we'll continue this at your pace, exhaling, right knee in, hands around it, lift the head, inhaling, arms back, leg extends, continuing. So as you're going through, let the breath guide the body. Breath begins, movement follows. Remembering behind the breath and in the breath is that cosmic energy. A few more. Let's finish with the left leg, bringing that in, releasing it. Once you've done that, take the arms behind and just let the limbs go for a moment. So letting them relax, even though the arms stay behind you, and is softening the bend in the elbow, letting the toes turn away from each other, and paying attention to the body. Notice if anywhere in the body built up some sort of tension or feeling of obvious existence. So for example, my neck and lifting the head that many times, I feel the neck in an uncomfortable way. So that's a good sign, so I can do something about it. Just at this point, let everything get heavy and take 5 deep breaths. At this time, bring the arms down alongside the body, palms down. And then start to activate the legs so you can bring them closer together. You can walk the shoulders back towards each other here. And then on the next exhale, bring the right knee in towards the chest. Flex the left foot. So we'll pause here for a moment. And let's also flex the right foot. So we have feet flexed, right knee in. Now just pay attention to what you're experiencing. Maybe in the trunk and the hip flexor. And the next exhale, extend the right leg. And then inhale, bring the left knee in, flexing both feet. Pausing here. Okay, and the next exhalation, release the left leg. Inhale, draw the right knee in. Exhale, release the right leg. And inhaling left. Exhale, releasing. So take a few of these, same idea, but now we have the arms still, and we're also focusing on keeping the feet flexed. Noticing what parts of the body are being activated, what we're strengthening here. Areas that might actually already be tight and need some opening. So it's good for us to move those spaces and also create some resistance, because that is how the opening occurs. We need some pressure before it'll open. And just a couple more repetitions here. After the left leg has been drawn in, release the leg. And again, release the legs completely. Now take the feet to the corners of the mat this time. Flip the palms to face upwards. And take 5 breaths here as the body relaxes and rests. Concentrate on the body. See what you're feeling. Let yourself experience it. Now from here, we'll reach the arms behind again, bring the feet together, point the toes forward, find length in the body, lift the belly button. We're going to come into a bit of a back bend here. So let's take the arms down now alongside the body and push into the elbows so that the back lifts. Now, when you push into the elbow like a lever, the back will lift and the head will start to lift the more you push into the elbows. Now, we're just going to lower from that and do this a few times. So we're pushing into the elbows. This is extended leg posture. So we're going to just do a little bit at a time. So we push into elbows, the back lifts, maybe the head lifts if it feels okay for the neck, and then we'll release down again. So just a few more of these. So really getting the neck to arch in the back. It's so intense that if you feel like you have to exhale through the mouth, feel free. And then after that final one, we'll release, bring the knees in, rock a little side to side. And let's start to change the pace a little bit. So right from here, roll to one side, take a nice deep breath there. Maybe a clearing breath, and then press your way up to come to the mat so we can find a table posture, hands and knees. And we'll move through cat-cow, inhaling, belly relaxing, tailbone and head dip upwards. Exhale, belly engaging, tailbone and head dip down. Go through this a few more times, but really focus on the exhalation. It's easy. I do it all the time. I kind of cut it short. But on the exhale, when you're rounding, really pull the belly up into the spine. So there's just that final moment where it needs a little bit more of your effort. Continue a few more cycles. Now we're going to pause in a cow posture. No, let's make it a cat, actually. Let's pause in that cat and really pull that belly up, keeping the head down. From here, roll over the toes. And from cat, rolling over the toes, lift the knees off the mat, and then see if you can send the heels down towards the mat. So like we're coming into a downward facing dog, but we're just going to focus on lengthening the back of the legs right now, not worrying about the back. So back might be rounding while the heels are pressed down. Then we'll go ahead and let's say we'll lower the knees down, find a cow. We'll do this on the inhale. Keep the toes rolled over. Exhale, pull the belly up into a cat, lift the knees, take the heels back. Inhale, come back into table, cow. Exhale, cat, heels down from downward facing dog. So inhaling, cat with knees down. I'm sorry, cow. And then exhaling into cat, knees up, heels down. Let's continue this with the force of your breath, remembering what we're invoking here is when we say cosmic energy, that is power. So feel power in this breath. Feel power in the energy that's riding the breath as you inhale and set knees down, and as you exhale and set heels down. When you have your heels down, see if you can keep the legs straight. If you need to bend them, that's fine. On the next 3 or 4 that we're going to take, really focus on articulating. So even in that cat where we might forget that moment, I know I've already forgotten it, put the attention there, finish the cat, and then rise. And we'll take one more. And meet in a child's posture. So once you have knees down, we'll separate the knees and we'll lower the hips, we'll lower the head. Give the hands a break. This is a good time actually to take some circles with the wrist before you set the hips all the way down and the head down. And then let go. Let's separate the knees from each other if they aren't already. And then weave the arms underneath the trunk so you can have the hands touch the feet. And then bringing one side of the face to the mat, letting the shoulders just droop down. It seems like it's contrary to have the body relaxed while you're engaging with this powerful energy. But that's what makes this practice so special. So keep the breath strong. We'll turn the head the other way. And then let's bring the forehead to the mat. Take 3 breaths. And we'll lift the head to take the arms forward. Rise up to a table posture. Let's roll over the toes, come into downward facing dog. Let's come into that by the way of a cow posture. So sink the belly this time. Roll over the toes. Keep the head and the tailbone lifted. Lift the knees off the mat. And then begin to push into the hands to send the hips back. Now you might separate hands and feet by one little step. And we'll take a few breaths here. Let's look forward and then float the feet forward to the top of the mat or even the center of the mat. Either way, really, we're going to be coming right into a squat with the feet planted where they are. So feet are hips distance apart. Lower the hips down and then lift the head. Now, it might be difficult to lower all the way down depending on how open you are. Just do your best and then lift the head upwards. So let's see if we can keep the palms planted. And then we'll take a big breath in. On the exhale, lift the hips and fold. Inhale, drop the hips and look up. Exhale, lift and release the head. Really release the head. Inhaling. Exhale. Keep the palms planted the whole time. Continue to move at the pace of the power of your breath. Little by little, see if you can become more and more comfortable straightening the legs. And if you need to have hands elevated, remember I didn't say it, but remember, we've all been practicing together, so you know to bring those hands to a surface that's a little higher up to compensate for any tightness that you're dealing with. And let's focus 5 more repetitions here, focusing on that energy pushing through, in and out. And then we're going to end up with a fold, keeping the hips up, bringing the hands to the elbows, and releasing the head. You might bend the knees. You're going to feel some exhaustion probably in the hip flexors. We've done a lot with them. And then that way they're going to open up even better when we get there. And we'll take a clearing breath, drawing air in through the nose, releasing it out through the mouth. Picking that Ujjayi breath back up again. And at this time, we'll keep the arms as they are. Start to unroll the spine little by little. The head will rise last. And now we're going to keep the hands crossed like this across the chest. So we're going to go a little further and begin to send hands to the backs of the shoulders as best as you can. So you'll give yourself a very big hug and step towards the front of the mat. If you aren't already there, from here we'll be stepping the left foot to the back of the mat and coming into a nice lunge. Right knee bending, left leg straight, arms hugging. Now maybe you can settle into the feet a little bit more. Sink forward into the right knee. Bring your attention to the hips. Stretch the spine up from the hips. Draw the chin in slightly. Send the crown of the head upwards. Now see if you can find a more challenging position with the feet. So maybe heel toe that front foot forward a little bit more. Find a very deep lunge. Keep the back heel planted and the back leg straight. And now we're going to shift the body so we can straighten the right leg a bit and shift to face the left side of the mat. We're still hugging. But now we'll release the arms and we'll take them out to the sides to come into a star posture. So close the eyes for a moment and just keep the fingers spread, the feet spread, the arms spread. Close the eyes if you haven't already. We're going to focus the mind on the next 5 breaths, feeling like the whole body is breathing. The whole body is breathing. So if you really pay attention, you might actually feel the whole body breathing. Feeling it drawing in through the fingers, the arms, the legs on the inhale. On the exhale, feeling energy outward. Next exhalation, take the hands behind the tailbone, interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulders back, look up, open the chest. On the next exhalation, fold forward, or we'll take about 5 breaths in a wide leg forward fold, letter C. Prasarita Padottanasana. Shake the head out. And we'll start to rise upwards. You can keep the arms as they are. We'll come back to star, arms open. Come back into that hug. So, you might have noticed which arm was on top. Maybe you didn't. It's okay, but let's just cross again. And if it feels like, oh, this is familiar, then maybe you switch to the other side. And so that one arm is over the other. And now we're going to shift to the front of the mat. And from here, let's work on the other side. So we're right at the top of the mat. And we'll step the right foot to the back of the mat. We want to settle the feet down, right? So we have our balance. We need our surfaces pressed onto the mat. Find the right distance between the feet. So for now, you can straighten that back leg. As we're here, that's going to change. You'll be able to separate the feet. And then let the feet press down into the mat. So you have energy moving downward, feet down, right? And then you have the hips. Okay, left knee is bending, back leg is straight. You have the hips. Stretch the spine up and out of the hips. The hips are central, so they aren't shifting over to one side. They're right in the center, facing forward. Spine lifts up and out of the hips. The chin comes in slightly. The crown of the head lifts up towards the sky, directing energy of the head upward. Now let's be here for a few more breaths. And as you're here, you might find that space where you can separate the feet more and more and let that sense of challenge arise. And in that, you start to feel even more power in the breath. We'll say 2 more breaths, so maybe you find a deeper challenge. We'll keep the arms like this. You'll start to straighten the left leg and then shift to face the right side of the mat. But I'm going to flip around so that I can still face you. So you're facing right side of the mat. Feet are apart. Now we'll start to open the arms and come back into star. Spread the fingers wide. Let the feet separate. Bring your attention to the whole body. Experiencing the whole body like it can breathe. And what are the pores for if it can't? So really pay attention to it. With a couple more breaths, let the energetic field of the body expand outward. So even if that's a matter of imagination, feeling that this energy around the body can expand outward. And now we'll take the hands behind the tailbone, interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulders back again. Take a breath here. And then we'll exhale, fold forward. As you're folding, once you're there, you can draw the toes towards each other a little bit more to stretch the ankles. You can shake the head out. Eventually, really just let the head hang loose. Feel the space between the shoulder blades is contracting. It's getting smaller here as you draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Clear a breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Start to rise upwards. Release the arms from each other. Heel toe the feet so they come closer together up to hips distance. And then we'll turn to face the front of the mat once again. Okay, let's take a moment to just roll the shoulders around, maybe kick the feet out. We're going to practice today, before we come to seated, a dancer posture. So you may or may not need a wall or want to have a wall close by or a chair or a table. But we're going to kind of start opening up this space here that we've been working on. So if you want to use a wall, you might face the wall. If you think you're going to be in a position kind of like this, you might be able to utilize the wall, and it may or may not be necessary. So we're going to start first. Step number 1 is bringing hands to hips and having feet hip distance apart. You know, whether you're on the mat or near a surface to help you out. Then we'll pick up the right foot and hold the right foot with the right hand. So we have to have our left foot really settled on the floor. So energy of the foot has to be directed downward towards the floor to be able to stand here. So we're holding this right foot. Maybe we've got assistance with the wall. Left hand to the left or to the wall. And then from here, a few times, pull the pelvis in and then just relax the pelvis. Pull the pelvis in. So you, each time pull the pelvis in, you feel more lengthening in the thigh, the right thigh. The quadricep is opening. And then you can feel as you pull the pelvis in all the way up towards the hip flexor, which we were contracting a lot today. So pay attention to this space. Okay, now we're going to focus on the right hand, because you could keep the right shoulder forward like this, but that's not going to help my posture because my shoulders are forward facing a lot. So I'm going to take the hand to the back of the foot so that it's not to the outside of the foot, but it's like meeting the toes. And then I'm going to see if I can go even beyond that, taking the hand to the inside of the foot. So now my shoulder is really rotating outward. Now this might be plenty, so this is doing a lot for opening up this tight space and opening up this tight space. Right? The chest front shoulder, and right hip flexor and quadricep. So you might stay right here, or you might choose to go a little further by sending the right leg upward. Sending the right foot up and into the right hand. And this trunk can stay up for lots of strengthening in the back, or if you're a little tight, you might send the trunk forward, and this left hand might be forward, or it might be on a surface. But just see, how far up can this right leg go? How far in can that right hand go? And then we'll take about 4 more deep breaths. And we'll start to release. But before we go to the other side, we're going to shake this out and then stand nice and tall. So it's really intense, but it's very effective. So just keep feet hip distance apart, let the arms maybe hang loose, and notice what you're feeling where. Now before we go to the other side, we're going to back forward fold so we can stretch the back. So go ahead and just lower the trunk down, lower the head down. Clear breath out through the mouth. And get ready to rise. Now this is a really powerful posture. If you think about the name of it, King Dancer, so dancers require lots of power in their bodies. So let's focus back in on what that means. How can we experience that power within ourselves that sometimes we don't allow to show while we're in this posture. So now we'll have hands to hips and feel the feet, hips distance apart. Let the right foot really connect downward into the floor, and then we'll lift the left foot and hold the left foot with the left hand. Maybe right hand is going to find its way to hold something. And a few times we'll be pulling the pelvis in and releasing. We don't really want to sink into the right hip at any point, so we still have to keep some activity here as we relax. But pulling in and increasing the stretch of the thigh and the hip flexor, or really muscles, the hip flexor muscles system. And then we'll get ready, maybe 1 or 2 more here. We're going to get ready to reposition that left hand on the foot. So let's stabilize the pelvis and then take that left hand so that it's right on top of the toes and on top of the foot here. And then move it inward even more. If it's too intense, just go back a step. Okay, so we're here. I'm going to give this left shoulder blade a moment. Lots going on in the back. Some opening here in the chest. And then when you're ready, see what you want to do. Can you take this foot up higher? Do you need to lower the trunk? Can you push the foot into the hand? Do you want to let yourself, as powerful as the body is, it doesn't mean we can't have some support. So the cosmic energy itself is support for the body. So we can maybe touch a surface to help us stay balanced. We'll say 3 more deep breaths. Power in the breath. And start to come out. and release. So we can come back to the mat, shake out the limbs. We'll come back into a forward fold. So whenever you're ready, just lower down. Now with this fold, we'll be folding towards the front of the mat. We're going to turn this into something. So we had hands down earlier in a forward fold. See if you can find the hands down again. Maybe you're going to need some blocks, so we can keep this right leg straight for a moment as we lift the left leg and come to a standing splits. So arms straight, palms down, and then lift the left leg. Just take another breath. Step the left foot to the back of the mat, right knee lunges. Hands come down, and then shift this into a pigeon's posture. So right knee comes to the right hand, left leg slides back. We're in another back bend, we're just in one. Good back strengthening practice today. And then we'll go ahead and lower the trunk all the way down till we find a place for the forehead. If your back is rounding a lot, in order for you to get the forehead down to the mat, you'll want to bring a surface and elevate the head, because otherwise we're just going to keep creating long back muscles, and most likely we actually need to strengthen them and shorten them a bit, especially in the neck. Now here we'll allow ourselves to fully let go. You might focus the mind on the whole body breathing. But the idea of return is what we're going to work on. So that means each time that the mind drifts into a thought or into a feeling, into a memory, into some sort of information from the past or thoughts about the future, each time you notice it, you simply return it back to what you're going to focus on. So maybe it's the breath, maybe it's the body breathing, maybe it's all attention on the right hip, whatever it is. In the drift, always return. Notice and return. So we were here for over 2 minutes, maybe about 2.5 minutes. We'll start to rise, and we're going to actually turn this into a twist. So once you've risen, roll to the right hip. Bring the left leg forward and plant the left foot. We'll twist and to both directions. So first let's open and twist to the right. So we'll have left hand come to left leg somewhere, right hand behind, get tall, and then turn to the right. Check in with this right shoulder. It might start to dip forward, take it back. And then we'll come to center. Hook the right arm outside of the left leg. Take the left hand behind. Stretch the spine up first, and then push into the arm to twist to the left. Another deep breath. What we're going to do is turn this into a standing splits on the other side. So let's come to center. And we have the left foot plant. I didn't plan this, but I saw the left foot is in the perfect position for standing splits. The right leg, not so much. So we're going to have hands come down to lift the hips up, walk the hands forward, and then simply lift the right leg and straighten the left. And this is where we're going to see, we can have the arms straight, the palms planted. We'll take about 3 deep breaths. And we'll go ahead and bend the left knee to take the right foot back, plant the palms, and then lower the left knee down to the left hand, slide the right leg back. And then when you're ready, start to lower and release. We're focusing the mind. Our yoga practice is so important, especially in the age that we live, because there are more distractions than we can ever count. And many of them are intentionally meant to draw our attention away and towards something else. So let's focus on the return of attention. This is an exercise of concentration. Find the thing that you're going to focus on. Body breathing, the left hip, the movement of the lungs or the back, whatever it is. Focus on that. Any drift that occurs, just return. Notice and return. So we're just about there, a few more breaths. We're going to start to rise. And once you've come up, roll to the left hip, swing that right leg around, planting the foot. And we're opening to the left first. So once you have foot planted, right hand to right leg, left hand behind, get tall, press into the hands to turn. And we're going to be turning to the right. So come to center, right hand behind, left elbow hooks outside of the right leg. Get tall first, stretch the spine up, and then twist. And we'll come to center. Right from here, we'll sit up tall. So we can prepare to rest in Shavasana. Let's have ankles crossed or foot in front of shin. Roll the shoulders a few times. And then let's bring the hands in towards the upper thighs, palms up, fold the hands into each other. Thumbs can touch, shoulders up, back, down. Turn the head left and right a few times. Once you bring the head to center, and these can be quicker motions, draw the chin down and in towards the neck and then up. And just move this a little bit here, up and down. And then we'll go ahead and bring the head to center. Lift the right ear up towards the sky by bending the neck here, but focusing on right ear up. And then we'll bring the head to center. Take the left ear up. We really appreciate the lifting of the ear up because it really helps lengthen this muscle and it gets towards the front of the neck as well. Because you're really lifting the chin up as the head is tilted. And we'll bring the head to center. Let the head go just for a moment. And then bring the head to center. So let's come down to the back, preparing to rest. We will be finding a bridge posture before we get there. So plant the feet down, walk the shoulders back towards each other. Pull the pelvis in. And lift the hips upwards. Keep the knees towards each other. Maybe walk shoulders even further back. Maybe fingers interlace and arms pressed down. Straight arms, knees towards each other. It's a nice finishing posture. Kind of completes the picture here, especially for some of the things we've done today with the opening of the hip crease, the leg crease, with the strengthening of the back, with all the forward folding. And now we'll release the arms, lower the hips, drop the knees to the right, arms can come out to a T. Take a twist that feels right to you. So maybe knees stay apart or maybe they come together. Turning the head in the opposite direction. And we'll bring the knees to center and then turning head away as knees move to the other side. And we'll come back to center. Maybe one squeeze of the knees here, and then we'll be releasing the legs, releasing the arms, palms flipped upwards, toes shifting away from each other. The eyes gently closed, the mouth gently closed. If you feel any tension in the face, let's actually just do it on the inhale. Scrunch up the face, close the eyes, clench the jaw. And on the exhale, release all of that. Softening. You might do this one more time with the hands and the feet as well. Just clenching, activating, and then exhaling. Releasing, letting go completely. Sensing that what you've done today has actually expanded your very being, expanded the experience of the body and the mind and the heart, expanded the ability of energy to nourish you and fuel your body and mind. And so with all of that, now resting. Slowly, without changing anything yet, just bring your attention back to the body and to the breath. Notice how relaxed you are. Remember that you can still exhibit and express the power within you, even while you're this relaxed. And probably even better when you're relaxed. So when you're ready now, start to deepen the breath, start to move the fingers and the toes little by little. And you'll hear the bell, you'll hear the singing bowl chime 3 times. As that's occurring, on your own, figure out how you want to come back up to a seated position, and we'll meet by the 3rd time. So seated, let's reach arms upwards. Inhaling. Exhaling, palms in. Draw the hands in towards the heart center. We'll lower the head and connect to each other and that divine energy that is the source of our ability to breathe and move and be. And then we'll take a deep breath in and chant Om. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.